What about Julian Assange? What's your relationship with him?
So what Julian Assange is doing, he's putting a spotlight on all these secrets.
How often do you talk to him?
Why is that important to you?
I'm curious.
Look, I like these guys, you know. I look up to them. I think.
You've tuned in to Stranger Than Fiction News, broadcasting live from the dark side of the planet. We've got some major bombshell news on the DNC murder of Seth Rich. It's incredible what is coming out this week. It's incredible, but this is just the beginning. Now, I know most of you are on vacation. You probably don't want to be hearing about this kind of thing, but it's incredible. Just wait until this next week rolls out. But the very first thing we're going to be talking about is this 2015 video of Kim.com on Bloomberg. You can find it yourself. Kim.com. Assange will be Clinton's worst nightmare in 2015, May 14th. And the reason he says that is because he knows what's coming down the pipeline. They've been prepping this for well over a year, ladies and gentlemen. And we're going to play the interview, but before we get there, we want to play or show you an article that was just banned by the Huffington Post. You can still find this in cache if you look up why is it blasphemous for Kim.com to testify under oath in Congress. They pulled this article in about 12 hours. We saw it earlier, and we were going back to it to live stream it, and it was gone. It was gone, but we found it on the cache. It's still there. And they say, here's the quote from the article. They say, nobody can state categorically who killed Seth Rich. However, Kim.com isn't part of any conspiracy theory. Boom, bitches, boom. This is why they pulled it. Listen to this. He accurately predicted Julian Assange would publish material considered to be Hillary Clinton's worst nightmare in a 2015 Bloomberg interview. Kim.com's words are forever archived in Bloomberg's piece titled Kim.com, Julian Assange will be Hillary Clinton's worst nightmare in 2016. Listen for yourself.
What about Julian Assange? What's your relationship with him?
So what Julian Assange is doing, he's putting a spotlight on all these secrets.
How often do you talk to him?
Why is that important to you?
I'm curious.
Look, I like these guys, you know. I look up to them. I think they are very brave. They're going through a very hard time, you know, and they chose to do that for the betterment of all of us. So, yeah, I love to talk to them.
So, you said you were going to bring the internet party to the U.S. in 2016.
Yeah.
Why? What's your goal?
Well, because I think there's a big group of people out there that disagree with what's going on, you know. They want to have their privacy back. They want to have internet freedom.
You tweeted that you were going to be Hillary's worst nightmare in 2016. How so?
Well, I have to say it's probably more Julian. But I'm aware of some of the things that are going to be roadblocks for her. So, you know, if I can provide some transparency with these people and make them part of what the Internet Party stands for, then, you know, I will be happy to do that.
You're saying Julian Assange is going to be Hillary's worst nightmare in 2016.
I think so, yeah.
How so?
Well, he has access to information.
What information?
I don't know the specifics.
Why Hillary in particular?
Well, Hillary hates Julian. She is just an adversary of, I think, internet freedom.
And she signed your extradition request?
Yeah.
Boom, bitches, boom. So you heard it, 2015. He's like, oh, I know what's coming. I can see the roadblocks. There's tons of information coming. And he wants to bring the internet party to America. That's his dream. And this is exactly what he was talking about in the tweets, in what's been disclosed so far. This is exactly the storyline. So it wasn't like he's just bringing this up to be cute or to get some attention. He was foreshadowing this 2 years ago, ladies and gentlemen. Boom, bitches, boom. This should be sending shivers down every Democrat's spine, especially those that voted for Bernie Sanders and got robbed and cheated. Seth Rich and many others were killed. There was Sean Lucas. There was another guy, some sort of UN shadowy guy that was killed. And we've got a long list of toe tags associated with the Hillary campaign and foundation and previous administrations. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable that this person is still free. But this is really going to be the nail in the coffin. I mean, this is it, ladies and gentlemen. And now that the Huffington Post is pulling this story, and they say in the second line, look at it for yourself. However, Kim.com isn't part of any conspiracy theory. Now, if Snopes and all of them and Facebook want to say that Huffington Post is fake news, if they want to basically start a civil war out there in the Democrat world, let them go ahead and do so. But here's Huffington Post, and this is why they pulled it. They must have got some serious complaints from many in the far left. But you can see it for yourself. Take a picture of it, because this is the nail in the coffin. However, Kim.com isn't part of any conspiracy theory, Huffington Post says. He accurately predicted Julian Assange would publish material considered to be Hillary Clinton's worst nightmare. And it was. And it was. Everybody knows that if the WikiLeaks hadn't come out, she probably would have won. This really gave the fuel for the quote-unquote fake news stories that they're complaining about and blaming the Russians. But this absolutely destroys the Russian narrative, right? This is an inside job. This is a guy that got cheated. He felt cheated after, the Bernie Sanders, rigging. And of course, that was absolutely accurate, because you had the chairwoman of the DNC step down, resign during the convention. Imagine the DNC chairwoman resigning right there during the Democratic convention that was going to be nominating Hillary. Imagine, I mean, it's huge. It's huge. So those leaks were real. What happened was real. And it looks like Seth Rich was assassinated for political reasons in America in 2016 by the DNC, operatives of the DNC. More is going to come out this week. Jim Corsi is going to be releasing names this week. There are names already floating around. More than likely, it's going to be linked to people that were linked to the group that was beating up Trump supporters. And this is what we were talking about yesterday. I mean, these people are terrorists. These people are terrorists. You've probably seen this video. This is where a Trumper is just got smashed with a bike lock. All right, they found the guy, a professor from Diablo College. You couldn't make that stuff up, could you? Could you? No, you couldn't make that stuff up. And this is exactly the kind of stuff that we are seeing all the way throughout the campaign. It's still going on today. And this is what's happening on the street. Imagine what's happening, behind the scenes in these bureaucracies. Imagine what's happening in these media organizations. Right? It's basically a civil war out there. It's boiling over. But there's actual fighting going on. There's victims. Seth Rich is one. Sean Lucas is another. How many times have they come on television saying they want to kill Julian Assange? How many times did we see that? We should have brought that montage up for everyone to see. These people are terrorists. They're dangerous. And they're killing people in our country for political reasons. Why aren't the Democrats listed as a terrorist organization? Is it because it would be politically incorrect? Is it because people would be offended? Let them be offended. These people are terrorists. They are the pure definition of terrorism. So I'm not sure what our government is waiting for now that we have now that we've taken control. And this is something that should be concerning to everyone, because here the Republicans have the wild card. They have that Uno card to take out the DNC forever and ever, and just, forever, right? Why don't they play this card? What are they waiting for? There's plenty of evidence there, not to mention all of the other stuff that has come out recently with the private investigators, federal investigators, saying that on Seth Rich's computer, there were emails to WikiLeaks. So if they're having investigations right now into Russian collusion, this is very relevant to that investigation. Wouldn't you say, ladies and gentlemen? This is a huge piece of the pie, because what they're saying is that the Russians hacked the DNC, and this is how we knew that they were criminals. This is how we knew the Democrats were criminals, because the Russians hacked the Democrats. But that's not what happened. The reason that we found out these people are criminals is because it was leaked from the inside. So if they're going to have congressional investigations on Russian collusion, they absolutely need to look into this Seth Rich murder without any question. They need to be looking into this. If they do not bring this up in every congressional hearing, then you know that these people are on the same side as the Democrats, and the real collusion is between the Republicans and the Democrats, and they're working together against the American people. They are committing fraud. They are subverting the power of the United States government for their benefit, and they're screwing us all in the process. So everybody should be concerned here if the Republicans aren't jumping on this like, like a virgin at a frat party, pardon the expression. If they're not jumping all over this, then you know they're part of the problem. You know they're in it. And that's what it looks like. And that's why we're seeing this massive cover-up. That's why we're seeing them just continue on, they're continuing on, droning on about the Russians. The Russians had nothing to do with this. We know the Russians had nothing to do with this for a million different reasons. And even if they did, they told us that Hillary was a criminal. They saved us from electing a criminal as president of the United States. If anything, we should be sending them a thank you card. Thank you, Russia, for letting us know. But it turns out that this was an inside job, ladies and gentlemen. And you have the Huffington Post on their own website saying that this is not a conspiracy theory. This was uploaded. And then it was pulled. We saw it, we bookmarked it, we're like, yeah, we knew it. And then it just disappeared. We're like, no, the Matrix, not again. But it got cached. And we definitely took a screenshot of it. You can look for it yourself. Share it everywhere. Share it everywhere. Share the video that goes along with it everywhere. We're going to play this video again in case you're just joining us, because this truly is bombshell. Because it proves that what he was saying, what Kim.com was saying just recently, that he knew that Seth Rich was the insider, that he wanted to start an internet party, and that his name was Panda. This fits quite well, remarkably well. And either he was trying to, jump in here for some notice, or he was telling the truth. And it comes out that in 2015, he did an article, he did an interview with Bloomberg saying exactly that. It's in the archives.
What about Julian Assange? What's your relationship with him?
So what Julian Assange is doing, he's putting a spotlight on all these secrets.
How often do you talk to him?
Why is that important to you?
I'm curious.
Look, I like these guys, I look up to them. I think they are very brave. They're going through a very hard time, and they chose to do that for the betterment of all of us. So yeah, I love to talk to them.
So you said you were going to bring the internet party to the US in 2016.
Yeah.
Why? What's your goal?
Well, because I think there's a big group of people out there that disagree with what's going on. You know, they want to have their privacy back. They want to have internet freedom.
You tweeted that you were going to be Hillary's worst nightmare in 2016. How so?
Well, I have to say it's probably more Julian. But I'm aware of some of the things that are going to be roadblocks for her. So, you know, if I can provide some transparency with these people and make them part of what the Internet Party stands for, then, you know, I will be happy to do that.
You're saying Julian Assange is going to be Hillary's worst nightmare in 2016.
I think so, yeah.
How so?
Well, he has access to information.
What information?
I don't know the specifics.
Why Hillary in particular?
Well, Hillary hates Julian. She is just an adversary of, I think, internet freedom.
And she signed your extradition request?
Yeah.
So there you go. There you go. That's just one very important aspect to this investigation into what was released not only in the DNC leaks, but in the Podesta leaks as well. And this is something that should be coming back on people's radar because, again, what they've been trying to do with all of this criminal activity is cover it up with some sort of Russian narrative. They're trying to say, oh, look, the Russians did it, so you shouldn't worry about what's in those emails. If you read those emails, you would be very worried. You would be very concerned because it's basically talking about the relationship between politicians and celebrities and their relationship to pedophilia. Take a good look at this video of former Vice President Joe Biden. This was, aired on C-SPAN live. And at first you're like, oh, he's one of those guys. And then you start seeing some other stuff. And it really starts to add up, paint a very ugly picture. And we know that there is a very sad history between politicians and pedophilia. It seems, especially on the Democratic side, there's been some Republicans as well. There was Dennis Hastert, former Speaker of the House, third in line to become president. I'm not sure if people really understand the implications there and how long he was Speaker of the House. But nobody could tell. That was like one of the scariest thing about the Dennis Hastert case is nobody could tell. But you can definitely tell with creepy Joe Biden because he was just basically manhandling every little toddler that he could. And here Jeff Sessions, current Attorney General, he knows this guy. They're former colleagues. And Joe Biden goes in for the feel and Jeff Sessions says, and there's just tons of this stuff. There's something that just came out. It's hitting the radar pretty hard as well. A staffer for Governor de Blasio in New York has just been busted with child pornography with children as young as 6 months. Listen to this.
Police say 29-year-old Jacob Schwartz had thousands of images on his computer, some with children just 6 months old. Schwartz spent the last 2 years working in the city's Department of Design and Construction. He's also president of the Manhattan Young Democrat.
President of the Manhattan Young Democrats. He was actually pictured with the campaign manager of Hillary. I think we've got that guy's name here somewhere. But very, very troubling. A leading Young Democrat and de Blasio administration employee, this is according to the New York Post, has a secret taste for sickening child pornography that involves baby girls as young as 6 months old. This is the kind of stuff that we see. I mean, you heard it for yourself. This was a CBS report. It's right here on New York Post. It's just coming out. Jacob Schwartz. And basically, he's been seen with members of both the Bernie Sanders campaign and members of the Hillary campaign. So here we have another sex offender that is basically in the inner circle of the Hillary camp. So you've got Weiner, you've got Slick Willie, you've got Podesta. And so this is the kind of stuff that they're covering up with their Russian narrative, and people are buying it. And this is scary because they can basically do anything they want and say that the Russians did it, and everybody just buys it. And I just can't believe that this is happening in our country. It's crazy. It's crazy that people would be buying this, especially the Democrats. They just killed one of their own. They killed a Bernie supporter. How many Democrats out there were Bernie supporters? Most of them. Hardly anybody really supported Hillary, right? So they went out and killed a Bernie supporter. They are beating up Trump supporters. How is it that these people are running around free? And there's tons of other cases to investigate. Servergate, Benghazi. The list goes on and on and on. Plus the trail of body bags. Vince Foster and countless others. Where are those investigations? It would seem like it would be unprecedented for a former first lady to be indicted of anything. Jaywalking, theft, murder. You can't imagine the front pages of the New York Times, breaking news, former First Lady Hillary Clinton, indicted. But I mean, that's something that we should be preparing for, because all of this is going to be crashing down the next couple of weeks or so, hardcore. And you see what they're doing to Sean Hannity? You see what they're doing to Sean Hannity? It's the same thing that they did to that other guy, Ben Swan. Whatever happened to Ben Swan? He's still gone. Covering the Podesta case. Anytime people, start touching this information, it gets censored, it gets banned, people get fired, they get harassed. And in the case of Seth Rich and Sean Lucas and others, they were actually killed. Fellow Democrats killed by the evil Luciferians associated with the Hillary Foundation. The evidence is overwhelming. And even the Huffington Post now is saying that this is not a conspiracy theory. This is not a conspiracy theory. I think this should be the big breaking news that wakes everybody up from their vacation and freaks them out a little bit, because even the Huffington Post now is saying this is not part of a conspiracy theory. This is what's happened. Now we need to know how far it goes, and we need to set the record straight in congressional hearings. Absolutely. As well as bringing into context everything else that's come out in the past few months, whether it be everything related to Obamagate, the Susan Rice angle, the illegal spying of the Obama administration, not only on Trump and his team, but on millions of Americans as well. Everybody should be concerned here. Everybody should be very concerned about what's going on. This stuff isn't your imagination. But it's not something that's going to be repeated on the mainstream news, because they're hoping that it won't catch on. They're hoping that people just won't get it, and that they can, wiggle their way out of this one. So we need to keep the pressure on, make sure everybody is aware of what's just come out, and get everybody on the same page. If everybody isn't on the same page, then we risk, going into some sort of other territory, which is not where we want to go. They're going to want to bring us back to some sort of Russian story. They're going to want to keep selling us the lies. They're going to want to keep slowing down the agenda, because right now they're on the verge of total defeat. So we need to show them, out the door, politely if we can, but with handcuffs if that's necessary. And I think that's going to be necessary in certain cases here. Now, President Trump, during his campaign, had promised us a special prosecutor for Hillary's suspected involvement in numerous illegal activities. So we would like to see that campaign promise fulfilled to the deplorables and to the American people, because justice demands an investigation here. You can't have these people free roaming the streets to kill again. This is especially who these people are, right? These people are at the very top of the Democratic Party. They are still embedded in all sorts of different agencies, and all sorts of different locations and politicians and courthouses. This is a very dangerous terror network. Not only that, but they control many stooges in the media. So there needs to be a full investigation into how far this goes and all of the people that are involved. As well as we need to set the record straight, for this president and for the American people. Because these evildoers are going to keep coming on television talking about the Russians when they killed the leaker themselves so that he can't testify. And the first thing that they went and did is they went and snatched his laptop. And who knows where that is right now? Who knows what's left on it? But investigators that have seen that laptop say that there are emails to WikiLeaks on Seth Rich's laptop. And I think everybody saw what Debbie Wasserman Schultz was like when she was searching for another laptop. And this is another story that the mainstream media isn't trying to cover. The Awan brothers and their huge leak and infiltration into Congress. These system administrators, basically Edward Snowden's in Congress, were basically network administrators, and they were stealing all sorts of people's information. Congress people, confidential, top secret. Who knows what they got and shipped off to terrorists abroad. This is a huge case as well. And you saw Debbie Wasserman Schultz freak out in front of the police chief. If you don't give us that laptop back, we're going to cut your funding. You can look that one up. Debbie Wasserman Schultz threatens chief of Capitol Police to expect consequences. See how they're threatening again? It's like a mafia. And you should have heard her argument. If that belongs to another member, then it's ours. And the chief of police is like, yeah, but that's evidence in an ongoing investigation. Yeah, but it's just these people are hardcore criminals, and they all need to be rounded up and arrested. See, what happened to James Comey? Remember how there was these James Comey memos? Remember how he's going to testify and shame the president? Where did he go? He disappeared. He vanished. James Comey has vanished. Susan Rice has vanished. All of the Obama people have vanished into a shadow government. But it's coming out that Obama right now is basically continuing on as president in exile. And he's basically taken his entire crew with him out the door, and they're continuing on. And you know that they've got tentacles in the various agencies right now. So Obama is still pulling strings as the shadow president. And right now there's basically a shadow civil war playing out on our streets. And there's been victims. And it's just going to escalate. Now that they're backed into a corner, now that the final nail in the coffin is dropped, and that this week it's going to explode. There are going to be names rolled out, and it's going to be Seth Rich in the news for the next few weeks. And they want to talk about Watergate. They want to talk about massive scandals. Well, just wait until this all of this information rolls out here. But this is huge, ladies and gentlemen. This is huge. So we hope that you will take a few minutes to share this information. We're going to replay this video certainly later on, as well as some updates as new information comes through to our news desk. Be sure to check out our website, stfnews.com. That's the best news scanner website that you'll see out there. We got over 300 different sources streaming in real time. If something's happening in the world, you'll see it there first. And that's basically the news. That's basically the news. It's huge. It's huge. Be sure to check out the replay Thanks for watching. If you're listening to this, you are the resistance.